Hey NFL fans, before we dive into today's hottest stories, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss an update from NFL News Now. Man, if there's one thing we've learned about the Philadelphia Eagles over the past few years, it's that Howie Roseman doesn't sleep. The man lives for chaos, for those moments when the whole league gasps and says, he did what? And just when you think he's done, just when you think the roster is complete, another rumor hits the NFL world like a meteor. This time, the whisper in the wind is something so wild, so outrageous, that it feels like pure fan fiction. But it's football season, it's trade deadline week, and in this league, crazier things have happened. The rumor that's lighting up phones, podcasts, and Twitter timelines across the country is that the Philadelphia Eagles, yes, the reigning Super Bowl champions sitting at 6-2, might actually be going after Myles Garrett. Yeah, that Myles Garrett. The defensive freak from the Cleveland Browns, one of the most dominant pass rushers on the planet. Now, I know what you're thinking. There's no way the Browns are trading Myles Garrett. And honestly, you're probably right. This guy isn't just another player. He's the heart and soul of that Cleveland defense, the face of the franchise, the one guy every offensive coordinator circles on the whiteboard every single week. But even if the odds are microscopic, there's a reason people can't stop talking about it. When Charles Robinson from Yahoo Sports goes on 102.5 The Game and says that people around the league are whispering about the Eagles being super hot on Garrett, you can't just ignore that. Especially when Robinson claims that Howie Roseman, the master architect himself, might be willing to throw 3 first-round picks into the mix. 3. That's not just interest. That's obsession. That's the kind of offer that makes the league stop what it's doing and pay attention. Picture it for a second. You're an Eagles fan sitting on your couch, scrolling through your phone, when the notification pops up. Breaking, Philadelphia Eagles acquire Myles Garrett in blockbuster trade. Your heart stops. The world goes silent. You don't even blink because your brain is trying to process the fact that this team, already one of the most stacked rosters in football, just added a generational talent off the edge. You start imagining Garrett lining up next to Jalen Carter, Haason Reddick, Josh Sweat, Jordan Davis. It's like the Avengers putting on helmets. The kind of defensive line that doesn't just pressure quarterbacks, it ruins them. They'd have opposing offenses trembling before the coin toss. Of course, that's the dream. The reality is a little more complicated. Cleveland's front office just extended Garrett not long ago, and barring some dramatic fallout behind the scenes, they'd be out of their minds to move him. He's not just elite, he's historic. The man has 10 sacks already this season, 5 of them coming in one absolute demolition of the Patriots where he made rookie quarterback Drake May look like a tackling dummy. Every week, he's collapsing pockets, blowing up plays, and doing it with the kind of freakish athleticism that defies physics. Trading away a player like that isn't just about losing production, it's about losing identity. Still, if there's one GM who would at least try to make it happen, it's Howie Roseman. Roseman has built a reputation on being the guy who doesn't take no for an answer. He's the GM who traded for A.J. Brown when everyone said it couldn't happen. He's the guy who rebuilt a Super Bowl roster in less than 2 years, who finds loopholes in the salary cap like a Wall Street hacker. The man plays chess while half the league is still figuring out checkers. So when reports start swirling that he'd give up 3 first-rounders for Garrett, you can't just laugh it off. That's not insane. That's Howie. And if you're the Eagles, why not? You're 6-2. You're the defending champs. But you know you haven't played your best football yet. The secondary's been shaky. The defensive front has been good, but not dominant. And the pass rush hasn't quite hit that terrifying gear it had last season. Garrett could change all of that in a heartbeat. Imagine game planning against this team if Garrett somehow wore midnight green. You've got Jalen Hurts running an offense that can score at will, and then you've got a defense with the most explosive front in the league. It wouldn't be fair. The Eagles already have one of the deepest trenches in football, but Garrett is the kind of player who tilts the field. He changes how teams call plays. He forces quarterbacks to get the ball out in 2 seconds. He draws double teams that make everyone else's job easier. With Garrett, Reddick, and Carter coming off the line, it's a nightmare. You'd have to start praying for your offensive line's health every Sunday. And from a fan's perspective, that's the kind of football you live for. That blend of chaos and dominance that makes the other team's quarterback wish he'd stayed home. But let's not get too lost in fantasy. The Browns have zero incentive to move their best player, especially when their defense has been the only consistent bright spot this season. Unless Garrett himself demanded a trade, and there's no indication he has, it's hard to see Cleveland even picking up the phone. Still, what's making this story blow up isn't whether it's likely. It's that the Eagles are even in the conversation. That's what sets them apart from almost every other team in the league. Most front offices play it safe, worrying about future cap hits and draft capital. Howie Roseman doesn't care about 2027. He cares about rings. He cares about banners. He's in that rare mindset where the Super Bowl window is now. And if that means mortgaging the future for a player who could bring another Lombardi trophy to Philly, he's the kind of GM who'll do it without blinking. And honestly, that's the mentality that separates contenders from dynasties. You don't get to back-to-back Super Bowls by being conservative. You get there by taking big swings, by making other GMs uncomfortable, by being the shark in the tank when everyone else is just swimming laps. Garrett, even if he's untouchable, represents the ultimate swing. He's not just a player, he's a statement. He's saying, we're not satisfied with being good. We want to be legendary. And whether this rumor dies next week or somehow snowballs into something real, it's a reminder that the Eagles are never content to sit still. Now, from a pure football standpoint, let's talk value. 3 first-round picks sound like a lot, and they are, but context matters. The Eagles draft late in the first round most years because they win. They don't need to rebuild, they reload. So, giving up those picks for a proven superstar isn't the same as a team like the Panthers or the Bears doing it. You're trading uncertain future assets for a sure thing. Myles Garrett isn't a potential star. He's a walking guarantee of destruction. If that's the move that wins you another Lombardi, you don't think twice. You make the call, you sign the papers, and you let the league deal with the aftermath. And you know the aftermath would be pure chaos. The NFC would panic overnight. The 49ers, the Cowboys, the Lions, all of them would suddenly look a lot less scary. The AFC would start sweating too, because a Garrett-boosted Eagles team wouldn't just be a contender, they'd be a juggernaut. Vegas would shift the odds immediately. Analysts would start arguing if this was the greatest defensive front of the modern era. Opposing quarterbacks would start calling in sick with back tightness. That's how big of an impact one player like Garrett can have. Of course, the most likely outcome here is that nothing happens. The Browns hold on to their superstar, the Eagles keep grinding with what they've got, and the season marches on. But that's the beauty of this kind of rumor. It fuels imagination. It sparks debate. It gets fans talking about possibilities, about what could be instead of just what is. And in a league where anything can happen on any given Sunday, who's to say it's impossible? Maybe there's a 1% chance. Maybe Howie Roseman picks up the phone, makes that call, and shocks the world once again. So yeah, maybe this is a long shot. Maybe it's smoke and mirrors. But if you've been paying attention to the Eagles over the past few years, you know better than to rule anything out. Because if there's even a whisper that a player like Myles Garrett could be on the market, Howie's going to be the first one to sniff it out. And if somehow, someway, he pulls it off, we're not just talking about a trade. We're talking about a move that could reshape the NFL landscape for years. So buckle up, Eagles fans. Whether it's fantasy or fate, the fire around this rumor is just getting started. Keep watching as we analyze more details about some rumors. The rumor mill in Philadelphia has been buzzing like never before, and if you're an Eagles fan, you might want to grab a seat because what's swirling around could shake the very foundation of this team. Yes, you heard it right. Jalen Hurts, the charismatic, hard-nosed quarterback who has become the heartbeat of the Eagles' offense, might be on his way out. This is not a subtle whisper in the locker room or a vague hint from an anonymous source. There are multiple insiders, coaches, and even front office contacts suggesting that the end of the Hurts era in Philadelphia could be closer than we think. And let's be real, this is huge. The Eagles built their identity around Hurts, his dual-threat ability, his leadership, his relentless work ethic, and now, suddenly, the franchise is staring down a crossroads that could redefine their future. You can almost feel the tension creeping through Lincoln Financial Field as the rumor spreads. The guy who led this team with guts and grit might not be wearing green and white next season. It's the kind of news that makes fans sweat, makes commentators pause mid-sentence, and makes rivals quietly smirk. Because let's face it, losing a quarterback of Hurts' caliber doesn't just leave a hole on the field. it leaves a void in the entire culture of a team. For weeks now, whispers have been growing louder. There are reports of disagreements behind closed doors, not dramatic blowouts or headline-making spats, but subtle tensions about the direction of the team, contract structures, and the way the Eagles want to build their roster moving forward. Some say the front office is starting to weigh options that could seem unthinkable to fans, trading their star quarterback while his value is at an all-time high, or letting him walk in free agency if the numbers don't align. And then there's the financial aspect. Jalen Hurts has transformed into one of the most valuable quarterbacks in the league, a franchise cornerstone whose performance has justified a max contract. But in a league obsessed with cap space and long-term flexibility, the Eagles may be crunching the numbers in ways fans don't want to imagine. Is the team willing to commit the kind of money it takes to keep Hurts happy, or are they calculating that the opportunity to acquire draft picks and younger talent could outweigh the loss of their current star? It's a delicate balancing act, and the rumor mill suggests the scales may be tipping in a direction that no one truly wants to talk about out loud. The potential exit of Hurts isn't just a matter of logistics or numbers. It's also about identity. Philadelphia has thrived in recent seasons on the energy, tenacity, and audacity of its quarterback. Hurts embodies that spirit, the kind of player who doesn't just throw passes but inspires a locker room, ignites a fan base, and carries a team in moments where everyone else might falter. Losing him would mean more than replacing a player. It would mean rethinking what the Eagles stand for on the field. Fans have grown accustomed to watching him run, scramble, extend plays, and deliver when it counts most. His chemistry with wide receivers, his connection with tight ends, and the sheer unpredictability he brings to every snap is a formula that doesn't just fill stat sheets. It fills stadiums, sparks viral highlights, and fuels the narrative that Philadelphia is a city that refuses to back down. Imagine the conversation in sports bars, online threads, and locker rooms if Hurts truly leaves. What will the Eagles become? Who will step into those shoes that seem almost too big to fill? And will the next quarterback, whether drafted or traded in, ever capture the same aura? It's the kind of scenario that keeps fans awake at night, turning every offseason decision into a potential headline that could haunt a franchise for years. Sources close to the team have hinted at multiple paths for Hurts' future. One camp suggests that he could be on his way to a new city via a blockbuster trade, perhaps to a team that is just a quarterback away from contending. The intrigue here is staggering. Philadelphia doesn't have a history of trading quarterbacks in the prime of their careers unless circumstances demand it. Another possibility being floated is a tense negotiation leading to a contractual impasse, where Hurts, dissatisfied with the terms or structure offered, decides to explore free agency. Picture the scene. One of the NFL's brightest stars walking into the open market, teams lining up to woo him, fans watching in disbelief as the player who carried them through victories and heartbreaks could end up in a completely different uniform. The ripple effects are enormous. Imagine the domino effect on draft strategy, on roster moves, on the entire offensive system that has been tailored to Hurts' unique skill set. Coaches and coordinators would suddenly have to rethink their game plans, shift philosophies, and start over with a quarterback who might not have the same dual-threat capabilities, the same vision under pressure, or the same leadership aura. And let's not forget the human element here. Jalen Hurts has poured sweat, blood, and tears into building this team's success. He's been in the locker room through highs and lows, moments of glory and moments of doubt. Fans have fallen in love with his story, from his college days to his rise as a franchise quarterback. The thought of him leaving isn't just a sports decision, it's a narrative heartbreak. Social media has already started buzzing with speculation, memes, and heartfelt pleas from fans who feel an emotional attachment to the player. The rumor alone has sparked debates on podcasts, YouTube channels, and sports talk shows, with analysts dissecting every possible outcome and fans weighing in with passionate arguments that range from "keep him at all costs" to "maybe it's time for a new chapter." The energy is electric, the speculation relentless, and the tension palpable. Every quote, every public appearance, every subtle hint from the organization now feels like a potential breadcrumb leading to the confirmation of a reality no one wants to face. And in the midst of it all, Hurts remains enigmatic. Is he frustrated? Is he patient? Is he waiting for the right offer, the perfect compromise? or a signal from the front office that they are as committed to him as he has been to them? The questions are endless, and the rumor mill feeds on every small clue, twisting it into a story that fans can't stop dissecting. Meanwhile, rival teams are watching closely, and one can only imagine the calculations happening behind closed doors in other NFL front offices. Teams that have struggled to find a franchise quarterback suddenly see a potential golden opportunity. The idea of Jalen Hurts walking into a different locker room, bringing his athleticism, leadership, and winning mentality to another city, is the kind of scenario that makes general managers salivate. It's not just about talent. It's about marketability, fan engagement, and the kind of excitement that can turn a middling franchise into a Super Bowl contender. And in Philadelphia, the chatter is growing louder by the day. Commentators speculate about replacements, potential draft targets, and the future of the coaching staff. Will the Eagles pivot toward a different offensive philosophy? Will the team double down on Hurts' dual-threat style or attempt a wholesale reset? The speculation is endless, and with every passing day, the rumor solidifies into a narrative that fans are struggling to accept but can't ignore. So, what does this all mean for the future of the Eagles? If Hurts truly departs, the team faces a pivotal offseason, one that could reshape the entire landscape of the franchise for years to come. The quarterback position, the cornerstone of any NFL team, is suddenly a question mark. Draft picks, trades, and free agent targets will dominate discussions as the Eagles attempt to navigate a post-Hurts reality. Meanwhile, fans are left to grapple with the emotional fallout, weighing loyalty against pragmatism, sentiment against strategy. Jalen Hurts' possible departure isn't just a roster move. It's a seismic shift in the narrative of the franchise. Every game next season, every offseason decision, and every front office calculation will now carry the shadow of this rumor. Philadelphia is holding its breath, the sports world is buzzing, and Jalen Hurts, whether he stays or goes, has cemented his place in the hearts of fans and in the history of the team. The only certainty right now is uncertainty, and in the NFL, as we all know, uncertainty can change everything. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like this video and share it with your fellow NFL fans. Stay tuned for more updates, only here on NFL News Now.